Hello everybody and welcome back to another reading from Garrett Stores and such. Today we're reading item number SCP-058 Object Class Cutter. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-058 is to be kept in isolation in a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter containment chamber at all times. Walls to be constructed of 3 meter, 10 foot of reinforced heat resistant steel, backed with a further 10 meter, 33 foot of reinforced concrete. SCP-58 is to be fed a live cow every 3 days. Maintenance is to be conducted every 60 minutes, while SCP-58 is dormant, and every 15 minutes when SCP-58 is active. Under no circumstances is SCP-58 to be allowed out of its containment area. SCP-58 is to be audio recorded at all times. No personnel are to listen to SCP-58 for more than 30 minutes at a time. In case of escape, facility is to be considered compromised and detonation of on-site nuclear weaponry is to commence. To date, SCP-58 has been responsible for the death of at least 149 Class D personnel and 14 agents at the current site. Description: SCP-58 resembles a bovine heart with 4 arthropod-like legs used primarily for movement and 4 tentacles of adjustable length, covered with razor-sharp spines. It has a single sharp stinger on its rear, where the hole for the superior vena cava would be a typical organ. SCP-058's tentacles can be whipped to a distance of 3.2 meters, 10.5 feet, at speeds in excess of 320 kilometers per hour, 200 miles per hour. SCP-58 is extremely hostile and will use every opportunity afforded to it to inflict damage on its surroundings. SCP-58 has been shown to be highly resilient to trauma and should be approached with caution even when apparently incapacitated. SCP-58 is highly mobile and capable of rapid movement on both horizontal and vertical surfaces. It has been recorded reaching a speed of approximately 90 km per hour, 55 miles per hour in short bursts, covering distances up to 200 meters, 656 feet. It has the ability to accelerate from 0 to 90 km per hour, 55 miles per hour, in less than 2 seconds. It has been shown to use its tentacles for increased leverage and stability, as well as utilizing them to pull itself to other surfaces at high speeds. SCP-58 speaks in a human voice, though no method of producing sound has been observed in its physiology. It speaks with a vocal tone and accents of an elderly British male, with a slight lisp and deep voice. SCP-58 talks constantly, regardless of conditions. Even when attacking, SCP-58's voice and pace of speech are unchanged. The speech of SCP-58 lacks any detectable correlation to events, persons, or exterior locations involved with SCP-58. See transcript of interview 058-04. SCP-58 was first encountered at site redacted as it came out of data expunged. SCP-58 was extremely hostile and appeared to be very agitated. Initially, SCP-58 attacked site redacted, which resulted in the death of redacted faculty and redacted agents. SCP-58 went on to attack the nearby town of redacted, resulting in the death of over redacted citizens and the destruction of 17% of the surrounding buildings. Post-breach analysis determined the majority of the deaths are attributable to fire and fire-related injuries, resulting from a wide spread of stinger fluid by SCP-58 from a large structure. This is also blamed for a majority of structural damage. Redacted by SCP-58 amounts for only 8% of total deaths, with major evidence data expunged. SCP-58 was finally contained after being crushed and incapacitated by a large amount of masonry from a building that collapsed on top of it. SCP-58 was then extracted and transported to redacted by agents and MTF teams. SCP-58 was contained redacted for 3 weeks, during which it made minimal attempts to move, attributed both to physical damage and bloating from redacted during the initial breach incident. Testing during this period was limited, and SCP-58 still maintained a high threat level even in its impaired state. SCP-58 breached containment on redacted during an attempted transfer to an SCP containment site, causing multiple deaths and injuries. SCP-58 was eventually incapacitated by Agent Redacted, who managed to subdue SCP-58 by running it over with an M1 tank, pinning it beneath the armored vehicle. SCP-58 was subsequently secured and transported to an armed biocontainment Area 14. Transcript of Interview 58-4. SCP-58. I had dreams of the Queen, wonders that lived inside the hearts of love and silent treatments of all the elderly that I knew were once whole. Dr. Johnston. What is your name? I seek the revelations of all that the holy told to the unwise in the dreams of cold embers and sunlight that fades across lakes of black blood and snakes that eat the loaves of children from lamb trees in autumn. What is your name? And endless suffering is the woe of ignorant men who never lack to seek the depth of their own hearts, and only see the wealth of a poor world suffering to flay its own back in the knife wounds of silver and brutal gladness. Where are you from? The nightmare is a dream to the nameless slug that wanders across minefield and remains of deer and kings. This is some creepy ass. DO67 cuts off into screaming. Oh, by the way, that was some speech from personnel. DO67. Nightshade is shadows and all honest blinks that sorts through the bile of newborn plagues. Instant warmth is a mother's milk and dreams before anything else was clever. Continues screaming. Let him go. In seconds the sun is beating like drums in all hearts. Eat the ear of noise. Screaming is cut short abruptly. The sensual violence of lust is all the assurance you will ever need to know is the worth of life. End log. Well, this is a much shorter SCP than normal. I apologize for the very short SCP. I just figured it would be fun for the channel today. I might record another soon. But thanks for watching. I hope you had a great time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment what you would like in the next SCP video.